House right there. And Tinley's a great place. We had some friends live down there. We just moved. It's a nice community.
Nothing else.
All those areas got caught
Hey,
when
good.
the housing market died. You've got huge areas down there with subdivisions that have no connection
Mr.
to
Leonard, I'm sure there will be.
anything, but that'll straighten out in the next few years. That'll be.
Go down there.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Finance and Budget Committee meeting of Kane County on Wednesday, July 28th.
Microphone.
We have roll call, please.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Ford, Martin,
Martin present.
Sanchez,
Sanchez here.
Sturgis, Tepe,
Tepe here.
Pirog, Shepro, Berman. You have a quorum.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve minutes.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves.
Martin seconds.
Martin second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Sorry. Ford. Yes. Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Sturgis, Tepe,
Yes.
Berman.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have no knowledge of any public comments. Is there anyone that's
Mr. Chair, would you use the microphone, please?
Thank you, Vern. Is there any public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Treasurer's report, Mr. Kilborn.
Good morning. My report is included with the packet, giving you just some direct information. Return for June, the investment accounts. So those are funds that we have that we invest beyond what we need to pay our 90-day bills. Return 0.68. The demand accounts, and those are funds that we need to keep to pay all our bills, being payroll and all the bills, came in at 0.6. You'll see that I did return to the chart that you had been familiar with. We did add some benchmarks there so you can understand the investment environment that we are in. And those benchmarks are the Illinois funds, 90-day T-bill, and 1-year T-bill. I think last month at this meeting, I had made I had some suggestions in reference to different financial agencies in the county that could help us invest our American Recovery Act. And that a day or two after the last American Recovery Act meeting, we now have executed that, taking some recommendations and phone calls that came in from a number of members. Those funds were invested at the Kane County Teachers Credit Union and First Secure Community Bank. And that's all. Any questions?
Any questions? Yes, Mr. Norman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kilborn, I wanted to thank you once again for making it a little bit more basic and simple for us. As I had asked a meeting or so ago, we wanted the weighted average of the investment yield. You gave me both demand and investment yield. And I was just saying for all our monies, which I think equate to about 320 million, is that correct?
That is correct.
I was just wondering if we could get, you know, in the past for like 12 years, we had been getting this one that showed the investment on everything in just one line, one chart, which seemed easier for me to understand and maybe other people. Could we get that in the future?
So you're asking to, and the purpose of the two lines that I've shown is because the investment availability is different between the on-demand versus investment.
Yes.
But what you're asking for is you still want the main line. Hey, overall, what are we getting?
Yeah, that would be great if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, I got you.
And it looks like they're pretty close right now, 0.68 for the investment and 0.60 for demand.
Well, yeah, that's a large spread. There's a big difference between 0.68 and 0.06. So
0.06.
yes, sir. You're getting almost nothing on those funds that
All
are
right.
sitting in a bank available to pay those bills in those 90-day period.
And Mr. Kilborn, how much is in that demand account?
I'll have to get back. I want to make sure I get you a good number. I'll get
That'd
back
be
to you.
great.
Okay.
Thank you
And
very
I'll add, we'll add that third line there for you so you see the overall.
Oh, that'd be perfect. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
You got it.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Finance Director's report, Mr. Anzak.
Good morning, everyone. Included in the report would be the budget versus actual variance reports for the month of June. And I have actually the first, like, bottom half of the first page and the whole second page of my report and half of the third page all has to do with comments on the variances that are beginning to show up at this point in the year. There's really nothing alarming or that concerning at this point, so you can look at those in your own time. I have included as part of my monthly report an update on the county cannabis tax. Basically, there's nothing to update. There's nothing that's changed. We're still expecting our first payment next month. And we should have seen an increase in the actual tax rate go into effect July 1st. So the rate should now be 3.75% on cannabis sales. And I did check the state of Illinois website, and it's indicated there as well that that is the current tax rate for Kane County. The shared and direct state tax revenue, we're doing very well in comparison to both budget and where we were at last year. The reason why we're so far ahead of budget, which is a total of 5.4 million, has to do with the fact that we lowered the budget for this year, given the experience last year, and we were not anticipating such a rapid recovery from the impact on the economy from the pandemic. So far we're doing very well in comparison to budget, and I would say we're back on track to where we would normally have been if there had not been the pandemic. Just looking more specifically at the sales tax, you can see that that has really picked up, and probably begin removing this portion of my report since we're really getting back to normal. The graph shows that we're all in the green. We're ahead of last year since November. And if you look at the rolling 12 months sales figures, income tax sales, I'm sorry, sales tax figures in that little chart near the bottom of page 4 of my report, you can see beginning in December, sales tax have been increasing. And this is the sales that occurred in the month of December. So that was the point in which things really began turning around for us. And you can see there's a steady increase each month since then. Health insurance fund monitoring as of July 20th, we were almost $1.3 million ahead of the contributions that the county and the employees make into the fund versus what the expenditures have been. This is really more to do with the timing of expenses than anything else. In comparison to what we're collecting from paychecks versus the monthly expenditures that are going out from the fund. And of course, this does not include the accrued expenses that are only factored in at the end of the year. But it is a good indicator that we're doing well in that respect. At least we're not falling behind in our cash balance as of July 20th is almost $7.3 million. And we're striving to achieve a $9 million balance. So we still have a ways to go to reach that point. Regarding the Coronavirus Relief Fund, I did file the quarterly financial progress report for the period of April 1st through June 30th. This was submitted on July 9th, which was a few days ahead of the due date. And that report indicates that the entire amount that we had been allocated from the federal government, $92,900,217.90 has fully and completely been expended. The only thing remaining to be spent in the fund is the accumulation of interest that has been in the fund, and we're reserving that to pay the remaining administrative expenses. The American Rescue Plan Fund, as you know, we've received our $51.7 million. Of that amount, approximately $1.8 million has been formally allocated to the Mass Vaccination Fund. I did want to point out that we had, well, at the time of this report, it was $1,020,982 of expenses that have accumulated that are related to COVID that were over and above that, which could be reimbursed from the CARES Act fund because we had already exceeded the capacity of the CARES Act fund. So this is $1,020,000 above and beyond that we still should be reimbursed for. It could be reimbursed from the American Rescue Plan Fund if you so decide to do that, or it could be reimbursed from our COVID savings from last year. But these were unbudgeted expenditures for which we do need to be reimbursed. And I think I have an updated figure in the report that I'll be presenting to the American Rescue Plan Committee, which is like $1,007,000 that was actually approved by KEB, and there's still the difference is being investigated in more thoroughly to see if they truly qualify for reimbursement. An update on our special reserve balances. We have $8 million remaining of the COVID savings. We have $125,000 still in the fund that was reserved for the JJC build out. And we have the $320,000 that was set aside as part of the budget to fund a portion of next year's biennial election expenses. Contingency fund balance, there's $768,000 left for the remainder of this year. And then that $50,000 that's set aside for adult prisoner room and board. Capital funds, about 25% has been expended for building management, 30% for information technology, and 71% for the multi-use facility. Just a quick update on the Series 213 bond refunding opportunity. I have been working with the state's attorney's office and our bond counsel and our financial advisor, just exploring what the options are. So we'll still be pursuing that and probably have an ordinance to come to you for next month's meeting. I'm also very happy to report to you that once again, the county has received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association, and this is for the 2021 budget book. So we're very proud of that, and it's a good reflection of the effort that the staff has put into making sure that we meet those requirements, as well as all of the work that's accomplished and contributed by the various departments and elected officials who contribute all the information that we need to make that possible. For the purchasing report, we have several RFPs and a couple of bids that were issued during the month of June. We had one for low voltage cabling for IT, one for curbside refuse, recycling, and organics collection services for Mill Creek. We have mechanical, electrical, and civil engineering services. We had construction of the second courtroom at the JJC, drug and alcohol evaluation for court services, cost of service study for the finance department, and the generator replacement projects for KDOT. There's currently, well, let's see, you can see there's a small amount of quote savings for the month of June. We had 29,733 bid savings. And then for auction sales in the month of June, there were 6 sheriff's vehicles and 1 JJC vehicle auctioned for a total of $31,577 of proceeds. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman, Shepro.
Mr. Leonard.
Mr. Onsick, thank you very much for the report. Once again, it's very thorough. I'm very happy to see that we're looking at least a refunding opportunity on the 2013 bond money, and that the interest expense savings could be as high as $300,000. I understand we won't know that until we get closer to finalizing things. The one thing I'd like to ask of you, if we could, is in speaking to a few people on the board, some of us have a very difficult time understanding the reserve fund and the special fund and the general fund. Is there any way, Joe, that you could maybe put together a one-page sheet just explaining what revenues come in under the general fund, what comes in under the special reserve, and any other incomes that come in, so that people on the board understand where the money's coming and where it is actually allocated to, because I think there is some confusion on some of the people's parts.
Well, it would be impossible to put it on a one page unless you had a minuscule print, because there's so many different revenue line items coming in. But I can try to do something that will at least categorize them according to what funds they're going into for you.
That would be great, Joe. And even if it's 2 or 3 pages, just kind of a reference sheet for people to look at, so that when we're talking about the different revenues coming in, they understand where it's coming from and what it's being allocated to.
Sure, I can do that for you.
Thank you very much.
That's very good. Mr. Shepard.
Chairman, sorry. Yeah. Mr. Onsick, how many years in a row have we received the award from the government finance officers?
Oh, I did. I think I put that in my report. I don't remember off.
I thought I was looking, I didn't see it, but I know it was many years.
Oh, it's this will be the 6th year for the budget book, and it's over 20 years, I believe, for the financial statements.
I just think that is an outstanding achievement, and you and your staff should be commended for excellence, as that award indicates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Circus here.
It is not a small effort.
No.
All right, any questions of, yes, Chairman?
There we go. Now I've got, that's better. Mr. Onsick, regarding the biannual election, I believe the amount was 300 some odd thousand. Does that include estimates of when we go to the redistricting and that gets approved and we develop all the new precincts, there may be new voting needs for our constituents to attend to. So I have a feeling that that is going to be growing in need. Are we planning for that?
There is no plan for it unless it's coming from the county clerk's office. This is just what we've done is we've taken the total cost of the second election, which has been roughly like $640,000 in the years past. And then we take half of that additional cost. And in the off years, we set that aside so that, we're not seeing those, up and down spikes in expense. For 1 year, it's 600 more, and the next year 600 less. So this way, it balances out to it's just an even 320,000 a year. But there is nothing included in that for any additional expense. So if we need to set more aside, then hopefully the county clerk's office can help work with us, and we can come up with that figure and then plan accordingly.
I would think that we ought to just ask, because I believe from my conversations with Mr. Cunningham that may be the case.
Mr. Surgis here.
Or just yes.
In following up with Mr. Leonard's question, Joe, when you put that cheat sheet together, is there any way that we could get, just the totals that are in each account on there? I mean, I've been here 3 years and I still don't fully understand that. And that cheat sheet would just be, again, just a point of reference, nothing more for me. But I would appreciate that.
The balances in the account, what are you referring to? The reserve accounts that
Yeah,
are
the reserve
accessible?
account. Yeah.
Well, that is really the special reserve is the one, which is why I included in every monthly report to give you an idea of what is in that account. Otherwise it's all the special reserves, which are for special purposes that is not accessible to the county for other purposes. So
Not suggesting it is, nor would I suggest to dip into it. I would just love to see on one page, like an overview of it, rather than it be in multiple pages of a report where we have to go extract it from. And again, I'm oversimplifying, and I acknowledge that, and I'm not trying to pin anybody down, but it would just be refreshing for me to say, okay, at least I have a basis for it for future conversations.
Well, I wished I could say it was possible, but I really don't think it's feasible. We put together a couple of years ago, maybe it was with the help of the auditor's office, who did the bulk of the work. It took several weeks of his time and then several weeks of my time to update everything just as of the end of a fiscal year. Because as you know, as we move through the year, the balances are all fluctuating. So we tried to put together presentation for the board. Maybe I should just send that out, that summarized, but this was a 100-page presentation because of trying to explain everything that is involved with every fund, because we had all those questions coming from the board, the same questions you're asking now. Well, what's out there? What's available? What can we spend? What are we allowed to use for what? What are the purposes of? So we put all of that together, but it was that 100-page presentation.
I'd be happy to start there.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we would need to update all of that with the current balances, which would be quite a significant effort. So, I mean, I'm willing to do it. I'm just.
No, let's not go there. Let's just start with if we could start with the report, that would just be, and I probably have that already, but if you could resend that.
Sure.
And again, I'm not asking for anybody to spend any, monumental amount of time on that. But we get so lost in the minutia sometimes that we lose the forest through the trees, and we count on you so heavily, and you were so incredibly appreciated. But we should have a more fundamental understanding of things, and if you can forward that, I'd be happy to start there and work with Bill, and
Sure,
just kind
I'd
of
be
get my
happy
arms
to.
around it a little bit stronger.
Sanchez here.
Yes, Sanchez.
Um, I like that this idea has come up because something I've had in mind in regards to the American Rescue Plan Act and specifically the revenue recoupment aspect is the creation, having an outside entity, probably a person, create a sort of budget 101 guide, something that can explain things in a way that is understandable to new board members and to the public. So just throwing that idea out there, that may be something we can think about for the near long term.
Mr. Shepro?
Shepro?
Mr. Shepro?
Yeah, I take Mr. Sturgis's point, but I think that if I understood Mr. Leonard's suggestion is that we would start with a simple explanation of the difference between general and special funds and not attempt to give too much weed detail on what is actually in each fund, because as was pointed out, that fluctuates. And there's also, I think, a difference, is there not, Mr. Onzik, between what's in the fund and what is appropriated in any given year for any given purpose?
Well, that is also true because some funds, for example, the capital funds, whether it's the capital fund we use for our own building improvements or the Division of Transportation's capital funds, they have multi-year projects. So there are some years in which several $1 million are accumulating in their funds, but they're already part of a master plan that goes out, at least 5 years, that those funds are needed for the projects that are currently being designed and engineered. So yes, there is a difference between what is allocated in a particular year versus the accumulation in the fund.
Yes, madam.
I'm referencing Mr. Sanchez's suggestion. There are books that are already developed that would be basically understanding governmental budgets 101. And I'm sure that we could find one that we could share the title with and that our board members and the public then could reference. It is complicated and some of these funds are very fluid depending on grants, allocations, savings, as was just spoken about, that may go into a 5 to 10 year project that we're accumulating money for. We just talked about that with the election, saving money now for next year. So some of these funds, depending are grant oriented as well. So the money comes in and out. They may be special grants for a particular project that won't be refunded, but are allocated for that. So there's numerous funds that they're just fluid. It's money. And well steward money for particular programs and projects and things that the county does. It's continual. Some that are unique, as looking at the maps. We're spending money on something that occurs every 10 years. So it's having a good concept of generally how the money works, I think has to be done by any good board member. But knowing the devil in the details, I would suggest to get a better grasp of all of that, in my opinion, is that when you work with your committees, that you really start honing in on the department heads and you speak to them about how they're going to be funding their projects and what it looks like and maybe the impact that may have upon other departments. So to get a general grasp and going down into the micro, I think would be much more interesting and have just a breadth of knowledge of the macro of budgeting.
Mr. Leonard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think if we all take a look at Mr. Onzik's report on the very first page, his second and third paragraphs give a general explanation of normal revenue variances and a general explanation of normal expenditure variances. That'll just give you a little glimpse of all of the moving parts that go into it each and every month. And I think that should get people at least started to understanding what's going on. And then as Madam Chair mentioned, I'm sure there are numerous different books and references, but I just think it's good if we all are a little bit more informed and understand what Mr. Onzik is presenting.
Very good. Any other comments? Thank you very much, Mr. Hansen. Item 6, Auditor's Report. Ms. Wegman.
Good morning. We did provide our reports with the packet. We have completed our quarterly report and have also completed the mid-year update on the audit status report. We have also included a P-card report for the month of June, and we'll be continuing to provide that report with our report. We are also in the process of completing our P-card audit, so that should be released shortly, and are continuing to interview for our fall intern.
Very good. Any questions of the auditor? Moving on, new business. Item A, a resolution authorizing fiscal year 2021 budget adjustment for the purchase of Apricot Software International through a joint purchasing agreement.
Martin seconds.
Leonard move, Martin second. Discussion. Yes, Chairman.
As I was just speaking about, this Apricot software is used to support a new program for our state's attorney, the pre-arrest divergent, I think that's the word, program that's going to be happening up in the Elgin area, and I believe in Aurora. Once again, if a new program is going to be developed, and I think a new program should be developed to keep up with the times and the needs of our community, but I would appreciate having a holistic look at how this is going to impact all the other departments. We just funded a potential grant that may be funded through the Senate for $350,000 to pay for personnel. That grant has not yet been approved, but we think it perhaps will be. This Apricot software is in addition to that, and there are some other underlying costs for technology that will also be used to support this program. So what we're getting now is a piecemeal approach of Apricot software, personnel needs, then potential support needs that are going to be coming through this, instead of taking a look at saying what the total cost of the program is. So these are the kinds of things that I believe would get a better understanding for our board members to make good decisions on programs and how they're going to impact and how they're going to be continually funded.
Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Continuing on with what Madam Chair said, I think it's very important that we understand the whole aspect of this divergence program. There's a presentation on the basics of this program that's scheduled for this evening at Gail Borden Library at 5:30. And it's scheduled at the Geneva Public Library tomorrow at 5:30. So Martha Paschke is the individual that's heading up this program. The element of it is called LEADS. It's based upon a concept that was implemented in, I believe, Seattle about 10 years ago and has moved to other areas. The whole key thing is to keep minor offenders out of the entire system. And to instead have them actually enter into an agreement that in most instances they will pay for so that the system is self-funding. But to me, I think it's a very interesting program that can help to make a difference in people's lives. So I agree with Madam Chair. I think we should ask the State's Attorney's Office to prepare a presentation that'll go into more depth about this.
Very good.
And
Madam
again,
Chair.
my interest in that statement is not on the content of the program. That's for the board to decide, just the financial implication of any kind of program we're developing.
Any other comments? Oh, Ms. Martin.
Is the suggestion then that we defer action on this pending?
No.
Or are we moving ahead? Okay.
I think that train has already left the station.
It's a
Again,
long-range plan. It takes more to put it all together. I think this is something that's necessary right now.
Chair.
Stepping.
Tepe here again. A key thing of this program is that the information for these individuals will not go into the legal system. It would go into this database and it needs to be separate. And this database needs to be shared by the key people involved in it so that when an individual is entered into this program, they can track their progress. So I wouldn't delay this at all. I would encourage that we go ahead with this expenditure.
Want to make sure I know what's going on.
All right, any further discussion?
Mr. Berman, Sturgis here.
Sturgis?
In following up with Madam Chair, you know what, I would very much like us to begin to foster the culture where when we bring a program forward, you know, we bring the whole thing, the master plan. And if we're going to try and take that down into individual elements, at least we understand what the, you know, how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. Would just tell us what the elephant is so we know what the roadmap is and where we're going. I fully support this and want this to move forward today. However, I agree with Corinne. I would like to know what the total, not just this individual component. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? We've got a motion and a second. Can we have roll call, please?
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez. Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman,
Sanchez
yes.
is a yes.
Thank you, Sanchez.
All right, it passes. Item B, a resolution authorizing emergency affidavit for JJC fence repair.
Martin moves.
Martin moves.
Leonard, second.
Leonard, second. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, have roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Thank you. Item C, a resolution authorizing fiscal year 21 budget adjustment to align with actual CARES Act reimbursements. Ford moves.
Sturgis, second.
Martin, second. Discussion. Any questions? Yes, Joe.
I would just like to explain that, now that all of the expenditures are fully accounted for the CARES Act and reported to the federal government, this is just to make some adjustments to the budget, which was put together, many months ago before we knew how things would actually be expended and reimbursed according to account number. So this is basically a housekeeping item to make sure that the budget's in alignment.
Is this a final?
Well, it is, other than if anything unexpected occurs with the administrative expense, or the other possibility might be we still may have some interest revenue left over that's not needed for administrative expense, that we would then have to make a decision as to what to do with those funds.
Very good. Very good. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Resolution D, authorization to enter into a contract for cost of service study and related fiscal year 21 budget adjustment. Do I have a motion? Ford moves.
Martin seconds.
Martin second. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ford. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Mr. Berman.
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Item E, a resolution authorizing payment of additional workers' compensation premium expense for fiscal year 2020.
Sturgis moves.
Leonard, seconds.
Leonard second. I'm sorry, Martin move?
Sturgis,
I'm sorry. Discussion.
Surges?
Yes, Surges.
Joe, how you are able to get within $16,000 of our actual payroll for a work comp audit is just amazing to me. God bless.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Ford. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Surges.
Surges, yes.
Pepe.
Steffi, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Item F, a resolution authorizing new financial analyst position and related fiscal year 21 budget adjustment.
Sanchez moves.
We have a motion.
Leonard,
100
second.
seconds. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ford. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Surges. Pepe.
Steffi, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Resolution G, approving fiscal year 21 budget adjustment for Kane County Sheriff's Deputy assignment to the Kane County Treasurer's Office.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves, Ford second. Discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Debbie.
I thought there was some discussion about looking at an independent or another agency to perform this function that would reduce the cost associated with it. Anybody know where that stands?
Leonard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Mr. Tepe, I spoke with the sheriff about this in detail. He explained to me that if we hired an outside contractor to do it, it would actually cost more. And he felt that at this time, this was the most economical way to go. I trust his judgment. He seems to understand finance as well as anyone. So I'm in agreement with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ford. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Surges.
Surges, yes.
Pepe.
Steffi, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Item H, a resolution authorizing fiscal year 21 budget adjustment for retroactive increase. Do we have a motion? Ford moves.
Martin,
Sanchez,
Martin
second.
seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ford. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Surges.
Surges, yes.
Pepe.
Steffi, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Item H, a resolution authorizing a second judicial IT position for the 16th Judicial Circuit and authorizing corresponding budget adjustment.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves.
Steffi, seconds.
Happy second. Discussion? Madam Chair?
This is in reference to what I was speaking about before. This potentially could be another example of why in good intent we may be approving this position, which I'm not saying should not be approved. But as this individual starts evaluating and taking a look at what potential IT needs may be needed at the Judicial Center, all of a sudden we're going to be impacting another department on additional supplies, staffing concerns, et cetera. So this is going to be a position that may be opening up another Pandora's box financially for us, maybe a tiny little one. But nonetheless, this position comes with other needs. So I just forewarn that I'm not saying to deny this at all, but it will be impactful.
Other discussion, Mr. Leonard?
No, I didn't have.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Good morning. My name is Doug Naughton. I'm the court administrator. We put together this resolution. The funding for this position comes from fines and fees that are being collected. Currently, so far this fiscal year, we brought in $120,000 so far as of the end of June. This is a position that we would station at the Kane County Courthouse. to handle issues that we have with our Zoom and Zoom and our virtual court hearings. And it's a position that we would be sharing. We've had some initial discussions with IT, sharing with IT. Honestly, I can keep this person busy for about half a day. I need them early in the morning, early in the afternoon. We work with Roger to decide how we would split those duties up. So if something happened in Michelle's office, in the state's attorney's office, this person could go up and assist. Same thing with the circuit clerk. So, okay.
Thank you for that explanation. Any question, discussion? Mr. Tepe?
I believe it was just yesterday that Mr. Feinstock made a presentation talking about the long list of items that were on the judicial agenda for system items to be dealt with. Could this individual also help with that? On the fly, Roger.
That's fine. Good morning, Roger Fonstock with the King County IT Department. The request for staffing, you're going to see that kind of consistently, I think, in the judiciary as some of these things start to come up, and you're mentioning the prioritization of different projects. So the person that Mr. Naughton's talking about is more of a direct support role at the kind of desktop client level. The stuff that we were speaking of yesterday is more analyst business requirements for how do we integrate software solutions, how do we do training with software. So I think some of the responsibilities are growing and changing, and we've seen that consistently, especially this past year during the pandemic, that we've added a lot of technology, a lot of video conferencing, a lot of laptop computers and mobile computing. And what the demand is for support is just outpacing the people that we have. So Doug had offered to try and bring in a person through their special revenue budget to try and help with some of the day-to-day support needs. But they're different from what we see in the larger prioritized projects, a different skill set too, which is a little bit more programming versus desktop support. So that's kind of the differentiator in that. We still have some things to work out with the judiciary that are going to, I think, hopefully try to create more of a judicial technology support group. It'll be kind of a division of people that are more dedicated to the judiciary. We had that at one time. And it kind of started to be disassembled as we remove people financially from the 127 fund, which is the sales tax, and also trying to manage the changes in managing the court clerk's record system and the court record system. It was moved from primary responsibility of the circuit clerk to IT supporting it. So there's like this big shift of responsibilities. I think we're still trying to sort some of that out, who supports which parts and how much support does it require. And we probably will continue to see that be a question for the next couple years as more mandates come, more requirements. They want to have different programs, and it's become difficult sometimes to predict what it happens at the state level, and then it comes down to the local level, and we have to respond to reporting requirements or certain types of services that they mandate. So I think that's been driving a lot of our change management, and it's gonna result. I think one of the big questions is video evidence. How does that get handled with body cameras and car cameras? We still, I don't think, have an exact answer of what that will take, and it's because I don't know if you can calculate the work volume associated with it. We were talking about that. How do you calculate what that means when you say every officer is going to have a body camera, every attorney has to review the evidence and review I don't know that we have a good number of what that means yet. So that's going to keep going.
So essentially, the answer to my initial question is no.
No. Yeah, short
Okay.
answer.
But
not the same.
But you're saying there are additional support areas where this individual will be.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will use the person to the best of our ability too. So. A lot going on though.
I doubt if he's
Chairman
gonna
Berman,
sit around with
Sturgis here.
nothing to do. Thank you, Roger.
This Mr. Sargis is on.
Yeah, Mr. Berman, Sturgis
Yes,
here.
Mr. Sturgis.
So if I can, trying not to sound like a hypocrite, I just commented that we'd really like to have bigger pictures of what the projects are entailing. But in this particular case, I've had the personal experience of watching how you access the courtrooms via Zoom. And you've got people from all over the place trying to figure out which courtroom they're supposed to be in, and trying clicking and state's attorneys and lawyers and the judges, and boy, it's a lot, and it doesn't happen like everybody get in a line and single file and we'll spoon feed you. It's drinking from a fire hose right before the court call comes, and if this individual is helping juggle that workload, we can't get that person in fast enough. My personal opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Item J, a resolution approving contractor for the second courtroom build-out at Kane County Juvenile Justice Center.
Leonard moves.
Leonard
Sturgis,
moves.
second.
Martin, second. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item K, a resolution approving contractor for second courtroom. That was item L, a resolution authorizing the line of credit from general fund to drug prosecution fund, that's Fund 221, to bridge the gap between expenditures and reimbursements. Do I have a motion? Martin or Leonard? Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. We had resolution J, which was approving the budget adjustment for the second courtroom, and then K was approving the contractor. Did we do those two together?
No.
Okay, they were separate?
Yes.
We didn't do K.
I think we skipped J.
We missed one.
Yeah, I think we missed J, so we should probably go back, do J, approve that.
Miss K.
We did.
Well, all right.
I'd like to move item J.
We have a second for item J.
Ford seconds.
Ford second. My apologies. Is there any discussion on item J? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
That passes.
Thank you. To the best of my knowledge, we completed A through K and we're now on L. Do we have did I read L? Yes, I did. Do we have a motion for L? Ford moves.
Martin second.
Martin second. Discussion of item L. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ford. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
I'll get the alphabet straight one of these days. Item M, a resolution authorizing an amendment to Resolution 21-202, an agreement for architect, engineer, and construction manager at risk services contracts. Do we have a motion?
Ford moves.
Ford moves, Tepe second. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ford.
Yes.
Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. A resolution N, authorizing contracts for low voltage data cabling and structured network cabling engineering services. Ford moves.
Leonard seconds.
Leonard second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tippy.
Tippy, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And resolution O, authorizing a contract for King County mechanical, electrical, and civil engineering services. Ford moves.
Leonard seconds.
Leonard seconds. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez. Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tippy.
Tippy, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Sanchez, yes.
Thank you, Sanchez.
Item P, a resolution authorizing the contract extension for refuse removal and recycle services for Kane County Government, Division of Transportation, Kane County Sheriff, and the Animal Control and Kane County Forest Preserve. Moves. Tippy seconds. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tippy.
Tippy, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution R, authorizing the contract for Mill Creek SSA Native Prairie Maintenance Services.
We're in Q.
Pardon?
We skipped Q.
Oh, Q. Resolution authorized to enter into agreement with Jacuda Terminal Strategic Communications for fiscal year 22 immunization coverage levels grant program.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves. Ford second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tippy.
Tippy, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And now R, a resolution authorizing the contract for Mill Creek SSA Native Prairie Maintenance Services.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves. Martin seconds. Martin second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tippy.
Tippy, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution S, authorizing the county to contract for 12 months with Humana Incorporated to provide the 2022 healthcare continuation coverage for Medicare eligible retired and disabled employees and surviving spouses.
Sturgis moves.
Sturgis moves.
Leonard
Leonard
seconds.
second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tippy.
Tippy, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution T, authorizing the amendment of a Sun Life Insurance policy to include optional death benefit coverage pursuant to the King County Insurance Benefits Policy.
Sturgis move.
Sturgis moves.
Leonard seconds.
Leonard second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tippy.
Tippy, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution U, authorizing replacement of half-time payroll clerk with full-time payroll clerk. Do I have a motion?
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves.
Leonard seconds.
Leonard second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford. Yes. Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Sturgis.
Sturgis, yes.
Tippy.
Steffi, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution V, authorizing personnel replacement hiring, Kane County Department of Human Resource Management.
Surges moved.
Martin, second.
Surges moved, Martin second, discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Steffi, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
passes.
That was V, was it not?
That was V, yes.
W, a resolution approving personnel replacement hiring, building management, capital projects director.
Martin moves.
Martin moves, Ford second, discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Steffi, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Item X, a resolution authorizing personnel replacement hiring, the Kane County Health Department, Community Health Specialist 2, Environmental Health Practitioner. Board moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Steffi, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
motion passes.
And resolution Y, authorizing personnel replacement hiring, Finance Department, the Assistant Director of Purchasing.
Steffi moves.
Happy moves.
Leonard, second.
Leonard, second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Steffi, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. And item Z, the resolution approving June 2021 claims paid. Martin moves. Ford second. Discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd want to point out that you've reached the end of the alphabet, so it must be about the end of the meeting.
Thank you. I was going to go back to A.
Was this coincidental or were we limited to Z?
Well, we'll use the Greek alphabet next.
Oh, thank you for the humor. Hearing no discussion, the roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Steffi, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
motion passes.
Do we have any old business? I have none. Motion to replace reports on file.
Leonard moves.
Steffi seconds.
Leonard move, Tempe second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Steffi, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
motion passes.
To the best of my knowledge, we have no need for an executive session.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Sanchez.